If you found this video, you've probably been injured in a car accident and you may have medical bills starting to come in from the treatment you had to get after the car accident. You may be thinking to yourself, how am I going to pay for all these bills? Why are they sending the bills to me? I didn't cause the accident. And if you need future medical treatment to recover from your injuries, how am I going to pay for that? Folks, I'm Kevin Jones. I'm a personal injury lawyer in Missouri, and in this video I'm going to go over some ways that you can get your medical bills paid for after a car accident so that those bills don't go into collections and hurt your credit. If you were in a car accident that was caused by someone else, your first thought would be to send your medical bills to the at-fault driver's insurance company. Their driver caused the accident, so they should take care of everything, right? Well, yes and no. If you're in a state like Missouri that has at-fault insurance laws, then the at-fault driver's insurance company will pay for your medical bills up to the limits of the at-fault driver's insurance policy, but they're not going to pay your medical bills as you receive them. They're only going to pay your medical bills at the end of the case. At that point, they are going to settle your entire claim. Now, when the insurance company settles your bodily injury claim, they're only going to pay you a single lump sum for all of your injuries, and that's going to include all of your medical expenses, any compensation for pain and suffering, and if you were working with an attorney, your attorney's fees and costs as well. And in order to get that lump sum payment from the insurance company, they're going to require you to sign a release of your claims. And when you sign that release, then your case with the insurance company and against the at-fault driver is effectively over. You can't come back to the insurance company later on down the road and ask for more money. If you had to continue receiving medical treatment, you're not going to get paid for that medical treatment that you received after you released your claims unless you factored that into your settlement amount. That's why it is critical for you to fully understand the nature and extent of your injuries and the medical care you're going to need before you settle your case with the at-fault driver's insurance company. You want to be fully recovered from your injuries, or if you've been permanently injured, you want to reach maximum medical improvement so that you know exactly what your past medical expenses are, and if you've been permanently injured, you have an estimate of what your future medical expenses are going to be so that you can factor that amount into the settlement with the at-fault driver's insurance company. So if you receive significant injuries in the car accident that require ongoing treatment, then it may take a while before you're in a good position to know how much to settle your case for with the at-fault driver's insurance company. The problem is, those medical providers that are providing medical treatment on an ongoing basis may be sending you letters saying they want to be paid for their services. So how do you get those bills paid for while you are still getting treatment and while you're still trying to figure out how much to settle your case for with the at-fault driver's insurance company? So I tell people who have health insurance to go ahead and use their health insurance to get the medical treatment they need after a car accident, even if the other driver was at fault. Now, some folks don't like to give their health insurance information to their medical providers when they're getting treated for a car accident injury. They just have a problem with their own health insurance paying for bills that someone else should be responsible for. The problem with that is that your healthcare providers have a right to be paid in a timely manner for the services that they provide to you, and they have a right to be paid from you. They don't really care about who caused the injuries that they're treating you for. They only care about being paid for the treatment that they gave to you. And you are their patient, and they provided the services to you, and during the admissions or check-in process, you probably signed some paperwork that obligates you to pay for the treatment that they provide to you. So if you have health insurance to help you pay for medical treatment, you should use it. That's why you have it. Go ahead and give your medical insurance information to your healthcare providers when you're getting treatment for car accident injuries, or if you have unpaid bills because you didn't give your health insurance information to the people at the ER or at some follow-up appointment, you can still submit those bills to your health insurance company for payment, and you should do so. Just call the number on your health insurance card. There'll be a little number that says customer service or member services on it. Just call that number and tell them you want to submit a medical bill for payment. Your health insurance company should then take it the rest of the way. They should contact your medical provider to coordinate the payment of any benefits that are available to you under your health insurance plan. Just as an example, let's say that you had to go to the emergency room after a car accident and you came out of the ER with a $20,000 bill, which isn't uncommon at all. Let's also assume you have health insurance that has a contract with that hospital that allows for a 75% reduction in the bill for emergency room related services. That's going to take your $20,000 bill down to a $5,000 bill just because you ran it through your own insurance. Now that $5,000 adjusted bill is going to have to get paid between you and your health plan, and the amount that you pay for versus how much your health plan pays for is going to depend on the specifics of your health plan and whether you've met your own deductible, whether you have any co-pays or co-insurance and things like that to pay for. Regardless, there's a huge benefit to running that bill through your own health insurance plan because you basically saved $15,000 that you're not going to have to repay to the hospital at the end of the case when you settle your claim with the at-fault party's insurance company. While it's usually in your best interest to run your medical bills through your own health insurance company after a car accident, there are a few things to keep in mind. First is that some healthcare plans have a right to be reimbursed from any personal injury settlement you get with the at-fault driver's insurance company later on down the road. If you have health insurance through Medicare or Medicaid, then your health plan has a reimbursement interest in any personal injury settlement. Also, another type of health plan that we often see that has a reimbursement interest would be an employer-sponsored plan when you're working for an employer that's relatively large, has 50 or more employees, and that employer uses what's called a self-funded health plan option to provide health care coverage for its employees. In that situation, those types of health plans have a reimbursement interest in your personal injury settlement as well. And it's important to make sure that you pay your health plan back if it has a reimbursement interest because there can be some pretty steep penalties if you don't. You can get sued not only for the amount you owe the plan, but also for civil penalties and attorney's fees. And if you're receiving health insurance coverage through Medicare or Medicaid, failing to pay that plan back when it has a valid reimbursement interest can affect your ability to continue receiving benefits under Medicare or Medicaid. So it's important to figure out whether your health plan has a reimbursement interest for payments it made to your medical providers on your behalf. But remember, even if your health plan is entitled to be reimbursed later on down the road when you get a personal injury settlement, you're still better off repaying the health plan than paying the hospital because of the reduction and discounts that the health plan will get when they pay your medical bills. In my mind, it's better to owe your health care plan back $5,000 than owe the ER back $20,000 when it comes time to settle your case. Another thing to keep in mind when you are using your own health insurance to pay for medical treatment from a car accident injury is that your health plan probably has a requirement that you notify the plan if you've been in a car accident and that you submit your medical bills from the car accident within a certain period of time after the date of service. And it's important to make sure you follow those requirements and you don't let those medical bills sit around and collect dust, because if you do, the longer you wait, the more risk you're going to face that the medical plan is going to deny payment of those medical bills because you've waited too long. Now, if you're working with a personal injury lawyer, then your lawyer should take the lead on notifying your health plan of your personal injury claim, getting all your bills submitted to your health plan for payment, finding out what your health plan's reimbursement rights are, if any, and then at the end of the case, your lawyer should negotiate with your health plan to reduce the amount that you are required to pay back to the health plan from your personal injury settlement. One more thing to keep in mind if you are using a health plan to pay for medical treatment after a car accident is that while your health plan is going to help you get your medical bills reduced, your health plan may not pay for some or all of your reduced bills, particularly if you haven't met your deductible yet or you have co-pays or co-insurance and things like that to pay for. So how do you pay for those things? Now, one thing you can do to cover part of a medical bill that your health plan won't pay for after a car accident, or if you have no health insurance coverage at all, is to use your own auto insurance policy. You'll want to go look at your own auto insurance policy and specifically the declarations page to see if you have what's called medical payments coverage or MedPay coverage. In some states like Kansas, it'll be called personal injury protection or PIP coverage. Now, if you signed up for this type of coverage, then your auto insurance carrier will pay for your medical expenses up to the amount that's listed in the declarations page. A couple of good things about this type of coverage. One is it's going to pay your medical bills regardless of who's at fault in the accident. So even if you were partially at fault or totally at fault for causing the accident, you can still use this coverage to pay for some or all of your medical expenses. And your auto insurance carrier is going to pay for your medical bills as you receive them. It's not going to wait until you are fully recovered and have completed all of your medical treatment to issue payment for your medical bills. Now, another type of coverage that you want to look for under your own auto policy is underinsured motorist coverage. This is similar to uninsured motorist coverage, but it kicks in when the at-fault driver doesn't have enough insurance coverage. So let's say that you went to the hospital after a car accident and you came home from the ER with a $30,000 bill, but the at-fault driver only has $25,000 in bodily injury coverage under his or her policy. Now, hopefully you have underinsured motorist coverage, and that, if you do, then that coverage should kick in and cover the difference between the amount of your medical bills and what the at-fault driver's insurance policy will cover. Now, one thing to keep in mind about UM and UIM coverage is that those types of coverages aren't going to pay for your medical bills as you receive them like MedPay coverage would. If you're making a claim for UM or UIM benefits, then your insurance company is going to want to pay for all of your medical bills and your injuries all in one lump sum. So you're not going to be able to access those benefits until you finish treatment and you're ready to settle your case. Another way to keep those medical bills from going into collections and affecting your credit is to ask your healthcare provider to assert a lien against your personal injury claim. When a healthcare provider asserts a lien against your personal injury case, they are essentially agreeing to put a temporary pause on any collections efforts for the medical bills that they have sent to you, in exchange for which you are going to have an obligation to repay them from any personal injury settlement that you get later on down the road. Now, in some states where healthcare providers don't have the right to assert a lien against your personal injury claim, it's still possible to get medical treatment and delay collections efforts if your healthcare provider will agree to treat you under what's called a letter of protection. And all that is an agreement between you, your attorney, and your healthcare provider that guarantees the healthcare provider will be paid back once your case settles. Now, liens and letters of protection can be a great option for folks who don't have health insurance or auto insurance coverage that's going to pay for their medical expenses after a car accident, because liens and letters of protection will put a pause on the payments that you owe to hospitals and medical bills until your case resolves. Now, that can take a lot of financial pressure off you so that you can focus on recovering from your injuries and getting back to normal life. Now, while using a lien or a letter of protection can be helpful in getting you the medical treatment you need without adding all the stress of having these medical bills hanging over your head, there are a few trade-offs. First, you're not going to get the same reduction in your medical provider's bill that you would otherwise get if you had run that bill through your insurance plan. And what that means is that at the end of your case, you're going to have to pay that healthcare provider back who treated you on a lien or under a letter of protection more money than you would likely have to pay back a health plan that had a reimbursement interest. Also, in my experience, it can be difficult to get a healthcare provider to agree to treat you on a lien basis or under a letter of protection if you are not working with an attorney on your personal injury case. Having an attorney on board also provides some assurance to your healthcare provider that they are going to get paid back, because if they asserted their lien or entered into a letter of protection properly, then your attorney is going to have an obligation to see that they get repaid for any outstanding medical bills when it comes time to disperse any settlement funds. Now, if you don't have insurance and you can't get your healthcare provider to assert a lien or treat you under a letter of protection, really your only option left for paying your medical bills is to pay them out of pocket with cash and try to negotiate a discount directly with your medical provider. That's obviously not the most ideal option because medical bills can be super expensive, I get that, but it's a better option than letting those bills go into collections, getting a lawsuit filed against you, getting a judgment entered against you, getting your wages garnished, and so on and so forth. So if you can afford to pay for your medical treatment, go ahead and contact your medical provider's billing department and see what kind of discounts they can offer you. Some healthcare providers will provide a discount to patients who pay upfront with cash at the time of service. Other healthcare providers might offer a discount if you pay for your treatment within a certain amount of days from the date of service. If you can't afford to make payments and you're working with an attorney, you might ask your attorney to reach out to your medical providers to see if your attorney can get your medical provider to agree to delay billing you for the medical treatment, or hold off sending your medical bills to collections until after your case resolves. So those are some of the ways that you can deal with medical bills after a car accident. If you've ever been in a car accident and had medical bills afterwards, let us know in the comments below how you got your medical bills paid. Now, if you were injured in a car accident and you would like help getting your medical bills taken care of and getting compensated for your injuries, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to jump on the phone and talk to you about your options. I'm only licensed in a handful of states, but even if you're in a state where I'm not licensed, I'll be happy to connect you with a good lawyer in your area. If you want to handle your car accident claim on your own, that's fine too. In that case, you might want to know how to handle your property damage claim. Be sure to watch my video series on how to get the best property damage settlement after a car accident. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks so much for watching.